and planetary motions. Okay, this is what we have to start with now. So basically, this is going to be an application of what you have studied so far. I mean, in calculus. So we'll be actually using that how the the concepts that we have studied in calculus, the derivatives, the way we have related, first derivative to velocity, second derivative to accelerations and all. So we'll be now using them and seeing how they can be applied actually in a particular real life situation. Okay. So this is the whole objective of studying this topic that we are starting today. Okay. Now, you have studied something called as in your school. You have studied something called as the projectile motion, right? Now, can anybody just recollect what is a projectile? Just the concept. What do you understand by a projectile? How do you define a projectile? Hmm? Can anybody just recollect that?
मैम बॉल जो था एक ट्रेजेक्ट्री फॉलो करता था उसको कहते थे प्रोजेक्टाइल मोशन।
तो ट्रेजेक्ट्री क्या होती है?
मैम एक स्पेसिफिक कर्व के थ्रू जो बॉल था मैम वो
हम जो पाथ वो फॉलो करते थे।
पार्टिकल गोज
मैम
अच्छा, तुम
and the
बॉल बोल
object
रहे हो,
moves along a curved path
मैं
under the
stone
action of gravity.
क्या 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 फिर से बोलो, फिर से बोलो बेटा।
Ma'am, when the object moves along a curved path under the action of gravity.
That is not a projectile. I'm saying what is a projectile. See, what you are saying is partially correct. You know what you started with. Somebody said ball. I can call it a stone, right? Or any other particle, right? So
That is thrown.
that is thrown, yes. Ball, stone, particle, any particle that is thrown, right? That is a projectile. Okay. Now, when a particular object is thrown, it traces a path. It follows a path, some path. Okay. That path is your trajectory. That means every projectile traces a trajectory. Okay. That means it follows a path, right? Now, when we say projectile motion, that means we are interested in studying this trajectory or how this projectile is moving. Now, this movement is under, various circumstances, in the sense that, say, supposing I talk of motion in a vacuum, right? So that means what? That means there is no other external force acting on that particle. The only external force that is going to affect, that is going to, on which the motion is going to be dependent is the force due to gravity, right? But say supposing when a particle is thrown up, it comes down in general. So that means what? That means we are talking of air resistance also. There is some resistance offered by the air as well. So that means we have some external forces acting on that. When we have directions of wind, where it is flowing, in which direction have you directed your projectile to go? So there are a lot more parameters on which this motion is dependent. So the objective here that we are going to, at present, what we are going to study is a very basic thing. That means the very first thing that we are going to assume is that we'll be studying the motion in a vacuum. Okay, so that means
मैम वैक्यूम में एयर रेजिस्टेंस तो
that's
नहीं
what
होता
I'm
ना?
saying. The only force in that case would be the force acceleration due to gravity that would pull the object towards the downward motion. So that means what happens when you throw a project up, it goes up till some time, but then it has to come down due to gravity. So the acceleration due to gravity is the only force which is affecting the motion of that particle. Okay, because we are assuming that we are studying the motion in vacuum. The other thing that we are going to assume is the fact that the acceleration due to gravity is constant. It is not changing. That means it doesn't matter. So supposing your particle is here, your particle is here, or your particle is here, the acceleration due to gravity is not going to change. It is going to remain the same. It is constant, which you take as what? G लेकर चलते हैं ना इसको. And G has a fixed value depending upon the units, the unit of measurements that you take, whether you measure it in meters per second square or whatever unit. In the other things are mentioned. Accordingly, we have the value of G with us. क्या लेकर चलते हो? 9.8 or 32, depending upon what your unit of measurement is. Okay. So these are the, in fact, these are the basic two assumptions which we are assuming and then trying to see how the equation is going to be governed by, any particle that is done. And now that means it's immaterial whether we are throwing a ball, it's immaterial. Say, I can throw a ball, I can throw a stone, I can fire a cannon shell, it can be any particle. Okay, so that means the mass of the particle can vary from particle to particle. Okay, but we are not bothered about that. We are more bothered about the trajectory that it is tracing or the path that it is following. Okay, now to understand what kind of path it is going to follow, or what will be the equation of that path, and then how we are going to use that equation to evaluate various things. So this is what we are going to derive now. Okay. So for that, what I'll do is, like, as I've mentioned, these are the two assumptions. So, it can be asked in your Viva, like, what are the basic two assumptions under which we study this? Okay. Now, the
Assumptions.
yes. I've already mentioned the two assumptions. These are the basic two assumptions. इसके बिना तो ये study incomplete है. It has no significance. So supposing this is your ground, which is your x-axis, and this is your upward motion, the positive direction above the ground. Okay. So basically this.
मैम
हाँ जी.
मैम हम जो भी कर रहे हैं हम ये कंसीडर करके चल रहे हैं कि वो वैक्यूम है ना?
वो वैक्यूम नहीं है, जो भी मोशन है वो वैक्यूम में है.
हाँ मैम भाई सिस्टम वैक्यूम रहेगा ना?
सिस्टम वैक्यूम नहीं कहलाएगा. The particle is moving and the motion of the particle is in vacuum. System vacuum कैसे हो गया? That is why we are assuming that the only force that is acting on the particle is the gravitational force, no other force.
Okay मैम.
This is one assumption, and the second assumption is that the acceleration due to gravity is constant. It is not changing. These are the two major assumptions that we are making before we begin with the derivations. Okay. Now, let us consider this situation where this x-axis is actually your ground level. Okay. Now, supposing this P is a point from which your projectile is thrown up. Okay, or you can say from where the projectile is fixed. Okay, that means fixed means it is going to be thrown from this point P, and this is at some height above the ground level. This is your O, which is your ground level, and vertically above is the point P from which your projectile is actually being thrown. And we assume that this distance from O to P is fixed, which I treat as S naught. Okay, so S naught is the height above the ground level from which the projectile is going to be fixed or thrown or whatever you want to call it. Okay, then we know there is gravity. We know that every particle which is thrown up has to come down. But when it is thrown up, and not just thrown up, it is in fact thrown which is inclined at an angle, say alpha. So that means alpha is basically nothing but what we call as the angle of elevation. You know, that you have inclined your, say supposing you have a cannon here. Okay, so we are firing a cannon from a shell from this cannon. So definitely a cannon's nose is inclined at an angle with the ground level. Okay, so there is an angle of elevation here. We are not saying that this angle is 90 degree. We are not throwing it vertically up. We are throwing it at some elevation. We have fixed it at some elevation, and that angle of elevation is your alpha. So we are assuming, again, I mean, we'll see why we are assuming that alpha is not equal to pi by 2 right now. It's not straight vertically up, but it is some angle of elevation is there. Okay. Now, once it goes up, it has to come down. So when it comes down, that means it is going to hit the ground somewhere here. Let's call that point as I. Okay. Just a minute, girls. Let's call that point as I. So your I here is nothing but we'll call it as the impact point on the ground or impact point on the x-axis. Okay, so it is going to come back here, right? See, definitely if it goes up, it is going to go up and then it is going to come down. Okay, so we are calling this point as our point I. मैंने बहुत ही broad बना दिया, but it is not so broad as such. Okay, and this is your angle of elevation, alpha, which we are treating like that. Okay, now let us assume now this particle has been fired from here, so it has some mass. So let m be the mass of the projectile, and we know that projectile is nothing but the particle that we have fired. So it has some mass. We are calling it that as m. Okay, and g we know is nothing but acceleration due to gravity, which we are assuming to be constant. And m be fixed at, mass is not going to change, g is not going to change. So both of them are constants, and alpha has been fixed to begin with. Okay. Now let's say, now once it is fired, then while it is fired, then also it has some initial speed. Okay, I say I'm not saying velocity, I'm saying let V naught be the initial speed of the projectile. So I'm treating it as a scalar quantity. Okay. Now this initial speed is also called as the muzzle speed. Okay. So some books call it as the muzzle speed or the initial speed. So that is fixed. That means when t is 0, that's why we are treating it as V naught. So that means when t is 0, when the motion starts, then the speed of the projectile is V naught. As the time elapses, it changes its speed. So accordingly, because then there is a direction also attached to the speed, so it becomes the velocity there. Okay. Now see, the thing is that now we'll come back to the assumptions here. Let us say that, let us come back to the diagram again. So let us consider, say, supposing this particle has moved from here and it reaches this point, after some time, right? Now, when it reaches this point, the velocity is always going to be along the tangent to that curve at this point. Okay, so this is where the velocity is going to be directed. And since the particle is falling down, that means the force which is pulling this particle down is also going to be directed in this downward direction. Okay. Now, and this, the point from where the projectile was fired and the impact, the ground where it falls back, this is we denote by RF, which is called as the range of the flight. Okay, so that means along on the ground, how much distance has this projectile covered? That is called as the range of the flight, and the total time elapsed is called as the time of the flight, which we denote by TF. Okay, so I'll repeat that again when we come to the equations later on. But then, these are the notations that we are going to use. Okay, now one thing is clear, that the force is pulling the particle down. That means the force is along the, this is just for your understanding, that it is acting along the negative direction of the y-axis because it is pulling the particle down, right? Secondly, we are assuming that there is no other force acting on that particle because the motion is taking place in a vacuum. Okay, so that means the only force that is acting on this is the one which is pulling it down, and where it is directed, the negative direction of the x-axis. Okay, so that means, and what is the, and this force is governed by what? The acceleration due to gravity. So basically, this force which is pulling it down should be this only. Am I right or wrong? Somebody just quickly speak up. Is it right or wrong?
I'm right.
Right, ma'am. So that means this is one force, because m is the mass of the projectile and g is the acceleration due to gravity, and the force is going to be nothing but mg, because what is we have, see, yahi hota hai na, the physics says that the modulus of force should be mg, yahi hota hai na. But this is the modulus, the scalar quantity. Now we are attaching a direction. Which direction? The negative direction of the y-axis. So I have a negative sign and I have a j here, which has attached a direction to it. So this is one equation that we get, right? But then we have Newton's second law of motion with us. है कि नहीं है? What does Newton's second law of motion say?
Force equal to mass into acceleration.
The sum of all the forces. In fact, the Newton's law says that sum of all the forces which are acting on that particle must be equal to mass into the acceleration. यही होता है ना? Right. But in this case, this is what your F should be equal to. So that means your F should be equal to mass into the acceleration. And this should be equal to sum of all the forces which are acting on that particle. Now, in this case, how many forces are acting? Only one. Had there been air resistance, we would have added it to it. Had there been some another force, we would have added another force to it. So in that case, your total F would have been F1 plus F2 plus F3, depending upon how many forces are acting on that particle. But in this case, we just have one force. So that means, according to this, it should be equal to simply minus mgj. यही होना चाहिए ना? The mass into these, according to Newton's second law of motion, these two should be equal. Okay, so that means the ultimate equation that we get basically is nothing but the acceleration at any time t is equal to minus g times j. Is that okay? Right. Now see, we are interested in the trajectory. Okay, that means we are interested in the equation of motion, right? So that means we are more interested in finding RT. We are not very happy with acceleration. but we know how to integrate vectors, how to differentiate vectors, how to use the initial conditions and everything. That means using the equation for the acceleration, we can derive the equation of motion. So this is what we are going to do. So basically, what have we done? In fact, just remember this procedure, because you would be using this procedure to derive anything, even in terms of differential equations, when you do in your second semester. We would be using this basic logic, that on one hand we have Newton's second law, which says that, which talks of the total forces, and it says that this must be equal to m into a, right? But then what we have to just what we have to just equate this is to how many forces, what are the different forces. So that means before we start with this equation, we have to identify the forces which are affecting that particle or which are influencing that equation of motion. Okay, so this is the same logic we'll be using everywhere. This is a mathematician's approach to derive the equations. It's not a physicist's approach, mind you. You will end up with the same equation which you have studied, but the approach is slightly different. Not much of a difference, but slightly different. Okay, now since that means we have now obtained an equation giving us acceleration in terms of this. Now we'll use this acceleration equation to find, I mean, of course, I can find the velocity vector using acceleration, which will be nothing but the integral of acceleration vector with respect to time, which is nothing but minus g dtj. This will be the integral, right? Which is, that means your velocity vector is going to be nothing but, if you integrate this, see, g is constant. This is what we assumed. So it's not a function of time, that means. So it's a constant. So integral of dt will be simply tj plus a constant of integration, which we are calling as c1. Okay. So now that means if this is my, if this is my acceleration function, this is my velocity function. Okay, but it has a constant of integration attached to it. And how to determine this constant of integration? Depending upon the initial conditions, what I am given to in the beginning. Okay, see, mind you, we were given v naught as the initial speed. Okay, so that means v, when t at 0, which is nothing but your initial velocity, right, is nothing but a direction attached to this v naught, because it is the initial speed, right? Now see, I'll just take a portion of that diagram that we just had. This was the point P, and the initial velocity was in this direction, which was inclined at an angle alpha. Okay, so your velocity when t at 0 was along this direction. Okay, that is how the particle was, fired. This is how the projectile was moving, right? Now, if you just see, and if I just complete this right angle triangle here, then this will be the component of this velocity along the I direction, and this will be the component of the velocity along the J direction, right? Where? When it is inclined at an angle alpha. Now, along the I direction, isn't it, if I just complete this right angle triangle, can I not decompose it as V naught cos alpha and V naught sin alpha? This is how we decompose a vector along the x-axis and along the y-axis when you have an angle of inclination as alpha. So basically, your velocity when t is 0 is actually nothing but V naught cos alpha I plus V naught sin alpha j. Is that right or not?
But मैम the speed में vector,
हाँ,
मैम इनिशियल स्पीड, तो स्पीड में तो वेक्टर नहीं आता ना.
हाँ, तो तभी तो उसको इनिशियल है, तो वेलोसिटी, स्पीड तो उसका एक कंपोनेंट होगा ना. तो मैंने v नॉट के साथ वेक्टर कहाँ लिखा है?
हम वेलोसिटी निकाल रहे हैं.
We are finding the velocity now.
Okay.
Okay, we are given the initial speed. We were not given the initial velocity. So we are decomposing, we are actually decomposing that. See, at t equal to 0, see, isko v naught bol do. V naught is your initial velocity. So it has a direction. But it is since it was inclined at an angle, that's why I'm saying we are not saying that alpha is pi by 2. What happens when alpha is pi by 2? बताओ क्या होगा? इसी equation, when alpha is pi by 2, what will happen?
V naught Z.
V naught equal to V naught.
V naught J, ठीक है ना? तो इसका मतलब जो initial speed थी वहां पे, the modulus of this V naught will be this V naught only. But we are not firing the projectile either directly up or horizontally. Now, our alpha is neither 0 nor pi by 2. It is inclined. This angle of inclination is there. So if this angle of inclination is there, that means we need to decompose this vector along the x-axis and along the y-axis. Okay, and that will depend, see, how the values are going to be dependent upon your alpha. If alpha is 45, you will have a different decomposition. If alpha is 60, you will have a different thing. So that is why we need to now, we need to write the initial velocity in terms of initial speed. Is this okay now? So basically what we are doing is writing this V naught, but in terms of this V naught. Is it okay now? So that means your velocity when t is 0 is actually nothing but this. And your velocity function is given by this equation. So in this equation, if I put t equal to 0 in this equation, you are going to get that v when t is 0 is actually nothing but c1. Because when t is 0, this term will be 0. Now, if you equate this and this, so basically what are you getting? That means your C1 is nothing but V naught cos alpha I plus V naught sin alpha j. Is that okay or not? Yes or no? Quickly.
Yes, ma'am.
So basically your equation Vt is nothing but your velocity vector now is nothing but minus GTJ plus V naught cos alpha I plus V naught sin alpha j, because that is what your C1 is. Okay. So if you just combine the j components together, that means your velocity vector is actually nothing but V naught cos alpha I. Shall we write it as plus? Okay, V naught sin alpha minus GT times J. So this is your velocity vector. And what was your acceleration vector? Simply, see, I'm writing it again. Your acceleration vector was simply minus GTG. Is that right? But as I said, we are not interested in the velocity or the acceleration. We are interested in the equation of motion. Okay, so that means we are interested in the displacement function, which is your RT. And RT is nothing but Vt dt, the integral of the velocity, which is nothing but integral of V naught cos alpha dti plus integral of V naught sin alpha dtj. I'm now separating the terms together, minus gt dtj. Is that right?
मैम ऊपर AT तो माइनस जी जे कैप था.
हाँ तो लिख तो दिया माइनस dt, ये रहा. यही तो था वेलोसिटी वेक्टर में, और क्या था?
ये ए टी इक्वल माइनस जी टी जे कैप, ऊपर जब हमने निकाला था वहां पे सिर्फ माइनस जी जे कैप।
Oh, yeah, sorry. I'm sorry. AT was minus GJ. यही बोल रहे थे बेटा?
यस मैम।
Right. So it's okay now, right? So you have now your RT as this. Okay. Now we integrate. Now again, V naught is fixed. It's the initial speed. Cos alpha is fixed because it's the fixed angle of elevation. So that means when you integrate with respect to time, it's going to be V naught cos alpha into Ti plus V naught sine alpha Tj minus G is constant and integral of T dt will be T square by 2J plus another constant, which is C2 now. Is that okay? So basically, this is going to be nothing but V naught cos alpha Ti plus V naught sine alpha T minus Gt square by 2J plus C2. Okay. Now that means to find this C2, we are more interested, we should be using conditions on the position of the particle when T is 0. Okay, let that be C2. That means when T is 0, we'll be using that. Okay. Now R when T is 0, that means the displacement when T is 0 is the position. And where was it? P. And how much was P when we started the motion? How much units was it above the ground?
S naught.
So basically, we can say that R when T is 0 is nothing but S naught, but in the along the positive direction of y-axis because ground se upar tha, right? So, and since it's a vector, R at t equal to 0 is again going to be a vector. So that means we need to attach a direction to this S naught. S naught to distance tha na, from the ground till the point from where the projectile was fired. But since it was above the ground, so it should be S naught J. Is that right?
Yes ma'am.
Right. Now, just this is when t is equal to 0. Now just put t equal to 0 in this equation. What do you get? Hmm?
And RT equals to C2.
Yes. Now r at t equal to 0 is nothing but C2. Okay. And this would imply that C2 is nothing but S naught J. And when you substitute in the above equation, you will get your RT to be V naught cos alpha Ti plus V naught sine alpha T minus GT square by 2 plus S naught J. I've combined the coefficients now. Okay, so this becomes your displacement vector. Okay, now if I say let your displacement vector in general RT be equal to say some component of I into some component of J, where both X and Y are functions of time. And if you compare this equation with this equation, can we not say that X at T is nothing but V naught cos alpha T and Y at T is nothing but V naught sine alpha T minus GT square by 2 plus S naught? कर सकते हैं ना? If you compare the general displacement function with this function, this is how we are going to get. So basically, this is another representation of a projectile motion, which we have obtained. And this is actually a This is a vector form, vector equation of the motion of the projectile. This is a parametric form. Isn't it a parametric form? We have expressed the motion in terms of time, V naught cos alpha t and things like that. Yeah, you know? And not just this, we can find the Cartesian equation also. See, your xt is this. So if we eliminate t, basically, what do you get t from here? X upon V naught cos alpha. यही आता है ना? T is nothing but x upon V naught cos alpha. Is that right? From this equation.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, if I substitute this value of t in this equation, my t will be eliminated and I will just have an equation in terms of y and x. So basically, what will you get? Y is equal to, directly thing. And now I want to write it as a quadratic equation. So won't it be minus 1 by 2 x square upon V naught square cos square alpha, this term, plus V naught sin alpha upon V naught cos alpha into x. I substitute t here, plus s naught. This will be the equation. I'm eliminating t now. Okay. So that means this is nothing but minus 1 upon 2 V naught square cos square alpha into x square plus tan alpha into x plus s naught. Isn't it this equation that you have got? See here, the moment you have an index naught, that means they are the initial values. So they are fixed, constants. Angle of elevation is already fixed. Cos square alpha has a fixed value. So isn't your equation same as y equal to ax square plus bx plus c? इसी तरह की आ गई ना equation? This is your Cartesian equation of the projectile. So we have obtained all the three, the vector, the parametric, and the Cartesian. Now, if you just see here, if you compare it, you are comparing it with the general equation, something like this, then your A is this constant, right? This is your A. V naught square, always positive. Cos square alpha, always positive. That means this A, if I relate this by a term A, then this constant is always greater than 0. So that means the coefficient of x square is what? Negative here. And mind you, that's why we said alpha is not equal to pi by 2. We are not throwing it vertically up. Okay? So, because we want this term to be a finite quantity. Okay? And that means what? You have the equation in terms of, it's a quadratic equation, number one. Number two, the coefficient of x square is negative. So if you have an equation like this, then what kind of a graph are we going to get?
Ma'am, a parabola.
Kaisa? It's a parabola, fine. But then, what kind of parabola are we going to get? Bodo?
मैम ये x axis focal axis x axis पे होगा.
I'm saying the coefficient of, अब मेरे को गुस्सा चढ़ने वाला. The coefficient of x square is negative. It is going to be a parabola. What will be the shape?
Ma'am, it will be concave down.
It will be a concave down parabola. The shape, the trajectory is always going to be a downward opening parabola. Because the coefficient of x square is negative. I'm not bothered तुम लोग पढ़ रहे हो या नहीं पढ़ रहे, and that is why we can always say that the trajectory is going to be like this. Otherwise, how do we ensure that is going to come back like this? It is a parabola, fine, because it is coming back, it has to be downward opening, and this equation verifies it. Physics says it has to come down because of the gravity, and mathematics says yes, the trajectory is always going to be a parabola. You've proved it in physics. That the trajectory of a projectile is always a parabola if it is inclined at an angle alpha. But mathematically we are proving it now. Physics में ऐसे prove नहीं किया था. Physics में कैसे किया था? Okay. Now the thing is that now we have equations, and most of the times we'll be using the parametric equation. बेटा फिर से बोलो, क्या बोल रहे हो?
a greater than 0 क्यों लिखा था मैम, हम सुन नहीं पाए.
a क्या है इस इक्वेशन में? what are the values of a?
इसके ऊपर a greater than 0 लिखा है ना ये.
I'm asking what is a actually here in this equation?
यहाँ पे तो लेस देन 0 है ना.
कहाँ लेस देन
कांस्टेंट?
कैसा कांस्टेंट? a क्या है? वैल्यू बताओ a की कितनी है?
-1/2 v naught square.
Minus, I did not mark minus as a. माइनस तो साइन है.
ओके मैम.
मैम मैं कांस्टेंट ग्रेटर देन 0.
मैं पूछ रही हूँ इस पूरे इसमें x स्क्वायर का कोफिशिएंट में a क्या है?
मैम 1/2 v naught.
1/2 v naught स्क्वायर cos स्क्वायर अल्फा. वो हमेशा पॉजिटिव होगा या कभी नेगेटिव हो सकता है? बोलो.
No, ma'am.
Can
Always
it
be positive.
can it
Always
ever be true? No. So that means since the a is always greater than 0, that means it will always have a negative sign attached to it, because it can never be negative. That is why it is a downward opening parabola. अभी भी कोई कंफ्यूजन है तो बोलो. Okay. Now, as I said,
1/2 v naught square cos square alpha है.
ये अभी कौन बोल रहा है? बीच में कहाँ खो गए थे बेटा जी? हाँ, वही तो बोल रही हूँ तब से. Now, as I said, we'll be using most of the problems that we'll be solving, we'll be using the parametric or at the most the vector form. So basically the equations that we'll be using is that xt is v naught cos alpha t and yt is v naught sin alpha t minus gt squared by 2 plus s naught. Okay. See, mind you, if the same projectile is fired from the ground, मतलब it is not at a height. अभी हमने क्या assume करा था कि this was the ground and this was p, so that this distance was s naught. So if your projectile is fired from the ground, यहीं से उसको fire किया, and it is back here. Okay. So what happens to this s naught? This s naught is 0 in that case. So in that case, your equation of motion will not have this constant term. That is why it is just this kind of a parabola. Otherwise, we are getting this kind of a parabola. Okay. Now, we'll come to that also later on. But then, as I said, most of the times we'll be using this equation, right? Now go back to that diagram which I just plotted. This is how the motion was taking place. This is O, this is P, this is S naught, and this was I, right? So as I said, this was what? The range of the flight. How much distance has that projectile covered on the ground? I mean, it was fired from O, it has reached back the ground at I. So how much distance has it covered? That is your range of flight. Okay. Now, to find the range of flight, now I'm just giving you ideas. How are we going to use this? So that means basically when we say that my ball is going to hit the ground. So ball hits the ground when what happens? When y is 0. Because when it hits the ground, that means at this point your y is 0. So what we'll do is we'll put y equal to 0. That means we'll put this equation equal to 0. Okay. So we'll find some t. T का कोई value आएगा ना? That t will be the total time of the flight. Okay, which we call as TF. That means the total time which the particle has taken from the position, from the state when it was fired till the state when it hits back the ground. Okay, so this will be the total time elapsed, which I am calling as the time of the flight. So what we are going to do then in that case is we'll put y equal to 0. We'll find t from here. That t will be the time of flight. And for that time of flight, so now then we can find x when your t is t of f. That means in the equation for x, we substitute this t, and that will give me my range. Okay, this gives you your range of the flight. Is that okay? Similarly, we could be asked to find what was the maximum height when the projectile what was the maximum height that the projectile attained. Okay, so that means basically we are going to maximum height matlab we have to in a way maximize y. Okay, or maximize your distance. So we have to we can find the maximum height. Not just maximum height, we can also find the time at which the maximum height was attained. Okay, so that means using these two equations only, we will be able to answer such questions. Okay, so that means now again we are not doing anything else. We are just applying our knowledge of calculus, how to find maximum minimums, or how to find what happens at x, what happens at y, and so on and so forth. So we'll be using that knowledge of calculus to solve queries like this. Okay. So this was about the projectile motion, or the how to model a projectile motion. And this is modeling means trying to find the mathematical